Hello, St. Paul's family. It's good to see you again. Last week, in keeping with this theme, in times like these, last week I shared with you some things about the book of Psalms. In this very challenging time, the book of Psalms, as I said last week, it's a really good book to go to in your prayer time. I shared with you how the Psalms are broken down into types. Didn't have time to define all the types, but I shared with you the most popular psalm probably known to man, and that is the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Very popular psalm, but it's known as a psalm of confidence because the psalmist speaks with confidence about how no matter what I'm going through, I know God is there and God is with me no matter what. And what a wonderful psalm to read during this time, in this very uncertain time with the coronavirus, people losing jobs. I have several friends who have lost jobs, have no money coming in. It's a rough time. And so one thing that we do in rough times, we try our best to hold on to God, understanding that, when having confidence that God will bring us through. This week, however, I want to share with you another type of psalm. And this psalm is called a psalm of remembrance. And in psalms of remembrance, the psalmist will go back and remember how God brought, in this case, in our case, the Bible, how God brought the Hebrew people through in a very difficult time, particularly when they were slaves to the Egyptians. And, we know the story of Moses. That was a very difficult and uncertain time for the Hebrew people. And so the psalmist actually will go back and remember times like those. And so one psalm that I want to share with you is Psalm 136. In Psalm 136, the psalmist speaks of God's goodness, but also talks about God's redemptive acts. And you'll see this theme where the psalmist will always comes back to this theme. Will always come back to this theme where he says God's love endures forever. Some translations will say God's mercy endures forever. And so what a wonderful psalm that teaches us to use this thing we have called a memory, not just to go back and remember the good times, but also embrace those difficult times where we know God has brought us through. We can think about that in our personal lives. We can think about that as concerning the world in which we live in. In fact, in the 1300s, there was something called the Black Death. It was a pandemic that wiped out about 1/5 of the world's population. We've been here before. A little over 100 years ago, we had the Spanish flu. Devastating. We've been here before. And although those were rough times, and although we're in the middle of a rough time right now, the idea is that you go back and you remember, if God brought the world through then, if God brought me through then, God will do it again. And so we have confidence and we remember. Psalms of remembrance, Psalm 136. In your prayer time this week, just checking out. And again, read the words, let the words kind of soak in, meditate on those words. As I said last week in Psalm 23, sometimes with popular psalms, popular hymns, and popular prayers, we often recite the words, but the words no longer stick because we're just kind of used to hearing and reciting. And so we just kind of go through the motions. But let the words stick. Psalm 136, Psalms of Remembrance. The memory is a powerful thing. Use it. Father Andrew, Father Drew, and Deacon Bobby, we're all continuing to pray for you and look forward to the day we can all come together and worship again in the presence of one another. God bless you. Amen.